everyone, my name is Lacey Noel, and today I am doing Totally Hair Barbie, and I'm super excited because I actually have never done a proper tutorial of any of my Barbie looks. I've done a time lapse of the first one that I'd done, and I might actually redo that one because I want to actually, like teach you guys how to do it. But and I also want to do my 1959 Barbie. But today I'm going to be doing the most popular Barbie of all time, and that's Totally Hair Barbie. In 1992, she came out, and within the 3 years from 1992 to 1995, she sold over 10 million dolls. And she is actually, I think she holds the record for having the best-selling toy in a short amount of time. I can totally see why, because who doesn't want a doll with floor-length hair, with an outfit that looks like Emilio Pucci designed it, and also she came with like 5 different hair accessories, a little booklet to like show you how to do hairstyles and stuff, and she came with hair gel and everything, and with her friends and family, like they were also totally hair people too. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I bronzed myself up just a little bit on the outer parts of myself, just to kind of give myself a little bit more dimension and kind of give myself a sun-kissed glow, because Barbie was known for having that beautiful tan skin. And you don't want to be too harsh, just lightly dust it all over. And then I also contoured my nose. I'm going to blend that out a little bit more so that it can blend, like so the edges are blended a little bit more. Oh, and before I forget, because I'm so used to not having eyebrows, I blocked my brows out with Elmer's glue stick. I don't think I have it on my table right now because I blocked them out hours ago. And then I have layers of foundation and powder over them. So for this look, you may have to block out your eyebrows. And I might actually do a tutorial on how to do that. For Totally Hair Barbie, she's wearing a little bit of blush. So I'm using a little bit of Anastasia Beverly Hills Babe, which is the lightest color here. And I just lightly, color in the face with that. I mean, it's the early 90s. They had a lot of fun with bright colors. Alright. And now that I have that, I'm going to go into the eyes. And the eyes are the focal point of this whole look. Because, I mean, the way that I do my Barbies, I always do them where I'm drawing the eyes over top my eyelids. So my eyes are closed, and I'm supposed to kind of look like a literal Barbie rather than putting eye contacts in and all that. So let's see. We're going to start with the bottom part of the eye because that's the easiest to do right now. And I'm going to go in with... I'm going to mix Sickening and Hunty together from the Life's a Drag palette. As you guys could probably notice, this is a go-to palette for me. I'm going to line the bottom lid. And I'm going to go out a little bit more. Like in here. Because you're carving out the shape of the eye that you're drawing on. And then you're going to go out a little bit more this way. And a little bit upward. And this will help you really find where you're going to actually paint the eye. And I'm going to ever so slightly blend that out. There's the little brush. You don't want to blend this out all the way, just a little bit. So that it's slightly softer than usual. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create little lashes. So Barbie always had those fabulous lower lashes. So I'm going to make one here. One beside it, right here. And another one in here. And this is probably best to do with an angle brush. I might actually conceal that just a little bit because it's a little bit long for my liking. And then I have like all sorts of little hairs in my eyes. Then we're going to do the same with the other eye. So what you want to do is bring this in just a little bit and then bring this out just a little bit. So you're defining the lower lid of Barbie's eye. And then I'm going to blend that out just a little bit because I don't want this to be too harsh. And then with the same angle brush, what I'm going to do is dip this into thickening and then make Barbie's little eyelashes. And if you mess up, don't worry, you can just fix it with concealer. Alright. Now that we're done with that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put some mascara on the lower lash because you want there to be a shape to the eye that you're creating. So I want the, I'm actually going to put mascara on my top lids as well, or my top eyelashes, so that it'll create a little bit more of a three-dimensional effect. It's easier for me to actually do it than to actually explain it, of course, but, you know. So I'm going to put a little bit of this mascara on. And I don't have to worry about putting anything in the waterline because my eyes are going to be closed. Alright, now that we have that, I am going to go in with the Mehron Paradise Paint in the shade White. Now this I use all the time. I even use it in my my everyday makeup. Or not every day, but you know. So gonna dip my brush in some water and take a little tiny bit of that white, and I am going to lightly find the shape of Barbie's eye. Now you don't want to go in the center because that's where the iris and the pupil are gonna be. I have like a weird speech impediment, excuse me. I hate when I'm trying to concentrate on something and then I start to get shaky. Now you want the top of the eye to end at where the crease is. And you also want to carve out where you want the iris to be. I'm sure this is going to look really funny in a bit. Alright, now that we have that, I'm going to do the same with the other eye. My personal main concern for like forever, Barbie didn't have a belly button until she was 41 years old. No one was saying anything about that. And a lot of people overlook the fact that she is an absolute, I mean, feminist icon. She's been everything that you could ever dream to be. She's been an astronaut. She's been president. She's been like everything. The first job that she ever had, though, was being a teen model, and that's what she was marketed as back in her debut in 1959. I'm going to take some of this blue from Mayron, and I'm going to start coloring in the iris of her eye. I'm not going to go too far in. I'm just going to go lightly around the corners and the edges, because I want to kind of give it a little bit more dimension with the other shades of blue that I have. And I'm also going to use a little bit of eyeshadow to give it a little bit more detail. And for, like, in terms of brushes for these, you can use, like, paint brushes from the craft store or any sort of precise brush that you have. Painting brushes are not a bad idea at all, because you do have to pay attention to detail. And I mean, if you're an artist and you have some extra paintbrushes laying around, I mean, you can always use them for makeup. Now that we're done with that deep blue, I'm going to set the white with just a white powder to make it a little bit brighter and to also make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And it's totally fine if it gets a little bit on that deep blue color. Alright, now that we have that, I'm going to go in with a lighter blue. I'm going to go in with a little bit of this turquoise color, like this. And I'm also going to go in a little tiny bit with, actually, you know what, I'm just going to go with this turquoise color and this white. With this small brush, what I'm going to do is dip this right into the turquoise. And color in more of the iris. Now I'm trying to get this to blend with the deeper blue color. It's almost like actual painting. How you're blending colors and everything. What's funny about this process too is that it's actually somewhat relaxing. And now we are going to put a little bit of the white with just a really nice and precise brush. And dip that very lightly in there. And lightly create a little highlight within here. I'm going to actually put a little bit of highlighter over that, but in the meantime what I'm going to do is take a very thin brush and dip it into this black paint. And I usually use the paint instead of eyeliner to do any sort of black coloring on the eye, because it's just easier to map out and get the idea for what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start off right here and kind of go downward so that it meets this part. I actually brought this up just a little bit. And now it's kind of giving more that illusion that I have completely different eyes. The liner is going to be slightly thicker towards the outer corners and towards the top as well. Alright, moving on. I am going to set the blue with some different colors. So not only am I working with the Life's a Drag palette, but I'm also working with the Alyssa Edwards Anastasia palette, as well as the Morphe Pride palette. And I might not even work with the last one, I just brought it here just in case. But let's see. I am going to dip in a little bit into Dream It with a very small brush. And I'm going to go in to the top. Ooh. Sorry if I shifted the camera, I was just crossing my legs. Anyway, I'm going to go up here and just define the eye a little bit more. Now, as time went on with Barbie, especially towards the 80s and 90s, they started to put more soul into her eye. And they started putting a lot more dimension and everything into it. What's really interesting too is that with the original Barbie, she sold for only $3 back in the day, but now the legit original actual Barbie from 1959 is worth over $25,000. And if I had the money, my house would be filled with the weirdest things. I would totally want to have a Barbie collection from the actual dolls from their different time frames. I would want different things of Marilyn Monroe, and of course different things from David Bowie, and oddly enough I would love to have one of Mr. Rogers' sweaters. So now we're starting to get that dimension. I'm doing the same with this eye. I'm gonna go into the color art just a bit. And I'm going to make a little bit of that highlighting shade come back. Now that we have that, I'm going to go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Aurora palette, and this palette has been through hell and back. I mean, it's insane. Anyway, I am going to take some of the shade Luna and put it over that highlight that I made with that matte color, so that when I usually do stuff like this when I'm going to photograph it, especially with the flash, because when you add like these little details and the little highlights and lowlights and everything, it really makes an impression when the flash goes off. Now that I have that, I'm going to carefully go into the black, very carefully. You don't want to mess this up. Your whole life depends on it. I'm going to, oh, hang on, I need to steady myself for this. I need to get myself prepared for this. Alright. And I have my elbows on my table to make sure that I'm steady too. Ever so slightly outline the iris. And we're going to slowly but surely color in the pupil. Alright, so what I did is I added little white accents to the irises. I'm going to go back into them because they dried a little bit too translucent. And also I am adding in the creases. So since I have the blue outline right now, I'm going to add a mixture of light and dark purple from the Mayron Paradise paints, and I'm going to go into the crease line and make sure that I have a good proper line to blend from, because this is where the hot pink shadow is going to go. Now this may be a little tiny bit tricky, working with the concealed eyebrows. But you want to just make sure that the line is nice and smooth. Now that we have that, I am going to, with a tiny blending brush, add some hot pink in there. So I'm going to go into Texas Made from the Alyssa Edwards Anastasia palette and lightly pack in this color. Now with this color, or any bright neon color, a little bit goes a long way. You want to start in very little from in here, and you want it to expand towards the middle and the edge. And also the packing in method works well with concealed eyebrows as well, because you're getting in all the cracks and crevices. Now that we have this little thing going on, we're going to take just a small brush like this and make sure things are blended into the concealed eyebrow. And we're going to take a bigger blending brush and have it blend out even further. And you might actually want to blend this out with a lighter pink as well. I'm going to take a little bit of Heart from the Morphe Pride palette and blend this all around. And if you think that you're getting a little bit too much pink towards the top of your actual brow, that's okay, because you can clean that up a little bit later after you add in the eyebrow. After we're done with the pink, we can go back into the blue lid. I am going to go into Kiki and just go towards the center of the lid this way and fill that in. And again, you kind of want to just pack that on to make sure it gets on the paint and also in the concealed eyebrow, because, you know, the edges of the brow can be a little bit textured, so you want to make sure it really gets in there. Then I'm going to go into the shade Dream It from the Alyssa Edwards palette. Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about for a second. And I'm lightly going in with that deeper blue, very lightly. And then I'm going to blend that out a bit. And with the blue shade from the Aurora palette, which is called Orion, I am going to pack on that highlight into the middle of the crease, or the lid. It's kind of hard to kind of decipher which part of my eye is which, because I have, you know, a whole new set of eyes now. But I'm going to pack that on so that it can give more of a lighter shimmery feel to it. And when you're done with that, you can go back into the crease just a tiny bit, not too much, with the purple from, or actually I'm gonna go in with Unicorn Tribe from the Alyssa palette and go in deeper into the crease and just blend that harsh line a little bit more. And I'm going to touch up that white part again. You might want to do this a few times because it just dries so translucent. Alright, now I'm going to get into the eyebrows. Alright, now that we have the eyebrows set, I'm going to put the lighter streaks in them so they appear a little different. You want to make sure that you have a nice thin tip brush to do this as well. Alright, now that we have that, we're going to go back into the detail of the eye. And we're actually going to paint the lashes on. Before I do that, I'm going to touch up the little white parts. Now we're going to get into the lash. I'm going to curve up the edge of this just a little bit. You don't want the wing to be too big. And then you want to just add in the lashes fairly quickly. So they're going to be pretty swift lines, and you don't want to make them too thick either. Now that we're pretty much done with the eyes, I'm going to go in with the lips. And the first thing that I'm going to do is paint my bottom lip white. And this is my main trick for doing my Barbie looks. And I'm just going to paint my bottom lip white with the Mayron Paradise paint. And I find this to be perfect too because Barbie's smile, like, her teeth are usually bigger towards the middle and smaller at the ends. And then with some of this pink paint, I'm going to stencil out where I'm going to put the lipstick. And for the lipstick, I'm going to use Trixie Cosmetics Stacey lipstick. And this lipstick is super cool. Super Barbie-esque. Absolutely love it. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. And before I actually dip into the Trixie lipstick, I am going to contour my mouth so it looks a little bit more like the expression that Barbie has on her face. And then you kind of have the contours of the face down. And I'm going to go in with my Trixie Mattel lipstick. And I'm going to carefully fill it in. And then I'm going to use a little bit of Unicorn Tribe. And fill in the corners, because Barbie always has she always has a lot of dimension in her face. You don't realize it at first, but she is seriously a work of art. So final touches. Last but not least, I'm going to add some highlight, and I'm going to use more of a sturdy, thicker brush for this. Now my trick for Barbie is I want her highlights to be I want them to be visible from straight on. So usually what I like to do is I use the shade Luna from the Aurora palette, which is a white highlight. And I put some in here because, you know, she's very shiny. She's a doll. Then I put some here. On the chin, over here, and also on the nose. And before we put the last thing on, I am going to put these little earrings on. I actually made these from poster board, and they're not pretty on the back, but they're pretty on the front. So I made them so that they would look precisely like her earrings. So I'm going to put a little bit of Prose-Aid, just a little bit. A little bit goes a long way, seriously. You have to be careful if you're wearing like a nice little outfit too, because you don't want Prose-Aid to get on that. So you hold it there for just a little bit. I think they're on. So I'm gonna show you guys the Barbie hair. I'm gonna take out this bun right here and pin it towards the back of my head. And this hair is awesome. This actually goes almost floor length for me. I want to actually wear it out one day. It's so cool. So like you have like the really long, crimped, kind of 90s Barbie hair. And it just like, it makes me feel like almost like Galadriel from Lord of the Rings. It's just so majestic. So like, just put it on like this. And the magic's almost together. It's 3 a.m. I'm all dolled up and I'm ready to take on the world. This is a little bit scary when you move your mouth and your eyes and whatnot, but this is one of my favorite looks I've ever done because Barbie is just such an icon. I absolutely adore her, and to be able to be a Barbie is such I mean, who doesn't want to be Barbie, you know? But I hope that you guys enjoyed this as much as I have, because even though it took me a long time, I truly enjoyed doing this. And I don't know, I think this was even more fun than the first time, because the first time I was just kind of trying to figure things out, and with this time I can kind of show you guys what I've learned from doing that, and also I hope to show you guys more with more Barbie looks in the future. I'm gonna do my my original Barbie look, like the you know, like modern Barbie that everybody knows, 1959 Barbie. I'm gonna do Malibu Barbie soon, which I'm super excited about. In the meantime though, please go follow my Instagram and my Twitter, which have a bunch of my artistic adventures on them. I post a lot of paintings and a lot of other makeup looks, and some makeup looks that don't even make it onto my YouTube, but you know. And also go on my Etsy, where I do sell a bunch of Barbie art on there as well that's covered in glitter. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.